those of you that don't know me, my name's Andy.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Andy. Where's Woody?
There is a little confusion. Some think I'm Steve. Not Steve. Okay, so this is an awesome opportunity for me. I grew up on this district. By the way, my father will be very upset if the nurse lady gets tired of cleaning up and quits cleaning up after him, because she spent a lot of years cleaning up after me and him, and it wouldn't be a good thing because neither one of us clean well, and that's my mother. Okay? So this is an awesome opportunity. I grew up on this district. I went to 17 camps. I probably came down front probably 12 times, you know, to get saved or rededicate or something like that. I think I know what God felt about the Israelite people, because I think I was just like them, you know. I'd fall away, come back, you know, come to camp, come to rejoice, and give it back, you know, and those kind of things, and I'd fall away. Just the story that we're talking about this week. When we got to talking about this last fall, when they came back, those three guys went to Rejoice, or to NYC last summer. I didn't get to go. They knew all about it. They were excited about it. It was a great setup. They're like, hey, you know, we should do this on our district to reaffirm it to the teams that went to NYC, but also to go through it with the teams that didn't. This would be great. And Luke kind of put it together because there were 7 topics, and we've only got 5 days of camp. So some of the days we're going to have to double up topics. And when you originally did it, what Mike talked about last night with brokenness and what I'm talking about today went really well together. I'm really jealous that Mike got to talk about brokenness. Okay? I saw that, you know, they asked me after, they kind of moved it around because brokenness and promise are such huge things for us, okay? They are such huge things for us to get across to you that each needed its own day. But man, I'm going, brokenness, promise, those things fit so well together. I'm thinking, man, I think we could get out of chapel at about midnight by the time I got done going through all those things, all the stuff that's in those 2 topics. But, so I get to follow on from what Mike and Joe already did and moved into. Because wouldn't it really be, I don't want to use the word that, wouldn't it be lousy if that was it? If where Mike ended, we just talked about this, if where Mike ended with the brokenness and we hadn't had anything to be able to do an altar call about like he did last night, wouldn't it have been lousy if that's all we got? God created us, Adam and Eve broke us. Sorry, you're done. Wouldn't that be lousy? Wouldn't that be terrible? So camp could have been 2 days long and you all go home depressed. Okay? We don't have to do that.
Amen.
Amen. So to give you a little history of me, to kind of set the picture today, this being a dream thing for my DNA, my personality, okay? Except for flying. My educational training, I didn't go to college to be a pastor. Okay? I went to college to be #1 football player and a wrestler. #2, to become a teacher and a coach. Okay? Spent a lot of time with the football, wrestling, track thing. Probably not quite as much as I did on training to be the teacher part. But my DNA is a teacher and a coach. So today is amazing for me. Get this picture, okay? I get to talk for about 15 minutes this morning. And by the way, math teacher, I know most of you don't like math, but I taught math and science, okay? So, what do math teachers like? Math. They like math, but what do they like you to do with math? Well, yeah, use it, ask some questions, but they don't. We want you to answer the questions, and how do we make you answer the questions? Starts with an H. Homework, yes. Math teachers love homework. I was horrified sometimes. Now this is a math teacher that I didn't like doing the homework, you know, but anyway. So, it's amazing how many math teachers I've seen. Odds 3 through 73. And you're going, how in the world am I getting that done by tomorrow? Somebody do the math. How many questions is that, Mark? A lot. Somewhere in there. Not quite. But it's a lot of problems, and some of those problems are pretty tough. But math teacher, I love homework, okay? I also get to hang out with you guys outside as a coach. So, talk for 15 minutes, give 2 hours worth of homework. Then I get to make you run around and throw balls at each other, okay? Perfect day for a teacher coach, okay? That's just awesome for me. And then we get to come back. We get to come back and I get to talk to you some more. Okay, great day for a teacher coach. Okay? So, talking about the competition, how many guys and girls, sorry, I'm going to use the term guys, that just means everybody, okay? How many of you like competition? How many of you guys like to compete? Alex, right now, I know your hand is like sticking to the ceiling right now, because Alex loves competition. Okay? I love competition a little too much. I had to back out of competition. This is a horrible thing to say for a man that is a Christian and also a coach. I had to get set down by my athletic director one time, and he said, look, you can't be yelling at the referees all the time. You're going to get thrown out. And, I'm an assistant coach in the sports that I do, and several times the refs have threatened to throw my head coach out because he's the one that's in charge of me. So, anyway, I am very intense about competition. Okay? This is not really necessarily on this. This is actually kind of leading back towards what Mike talked about with brokenness. Competition does not necessarily, it's not a bad thing. It's honestly a good thing. It's what makes us stronger. Okay? Things that make us strive, make us stronger. Okay? But here at Super Camp, and it's something that we did a few years ago, Luke's busy, so he didn't feel like, hey, let's not do spirit chips this year. It's just an extra hassle. And I went, no, let's do spirit chips. Okay? If you notice with the spirit chips, when you were playing games, you got the little white one for winning. That was worth 1,000 points. You got the 5,000 one for being a good sportsman. And then if you did something really cool, like helping out in the cafeteria when it wasn't your time, if somebody saw you doing, helping somebody out that was hurt, something like that. I gave out some spirit chips because people helped me without me asking them, move the balls around. Guys, the spirit chips are about sportsmanship, okay? We do emphasize that there's a point to competition, okay? There is a point to competition. It's good for us. But good sportsmanship and doing things without being asked, that's really important. And that's for those of you that haven't figured out why your team only got a few points and another team is got 5 times what you got. It's because they had some people that did some really cool things for the workers and the adults around here without being asked. Okay? So, coach's heart, and the reason we want to do that is because so many of you are broken. Okay? So many of you have been hurt. A lot of the people, now there are people that simply do not, it's just not part of the personality to compete. Okay? It's just not the way you are. You like to go with the flow, you like things to go smoothly. Competition kind of raises the level, raises the blood level, it's just not real comfortable. And that's quite all right. You're not weird, okay? You're not weird, it's okay. That's just the way you are. That's an awesome thing. But helping other people out. You guys, some of you are going to go back. You might not even be from a Nazarene church. You might not have a church at all. You might not have a church with a youth group. It might be you and your 2 siblings are the whole youth group. Okay? And as siblings, you just don't ever, you just are going to have problems, okay? That's okay. But one of the things that I had problems with as a teenager, and I know that most of you do, is we don't have the support of other Christians in our schools, in our churches, as far as teenagers. There are other Christians in your school, but we end up competing against each other. Okay? We got to be on the same team. We got to help each other out. We cannot get through this continuum that we're talking about this week of being created, being broken, through the promise, restoration, all the rest of the steps that we're going to go through, we cannot get through it without help. You might not have a youth pastor in your church. Some of you don't feel comfortable with going and talking to the graybeards, okay? And I'm getting there, okay? Yeah. There is a little bit of stubble up there, just not very much, okay? So, I'm going to be a graybeard. I'm still kind of the weird uncle type that, hopefully that I'm the weird uncle that people just don't talk about, but they like hanging out with. Not the weird uncle that nobody talks about and everybody hopes they don't show up for the family room. Hopefully I'm just the weird one that where'd Andy go? Oh, he's up with the kids. If you look for the kids, he's messing around with them. Okay. Hopefully I'm that one. So if you haven't met me, or I randomly walk up to people and try to get into your bubble. I'm a bubble person too. I like having a bubble, but I'm also comfortable enough with myself that I will walk up and get right in your bubble. Okay? And that's oftentimes the reaction I get, or this stony stare like, what are you doing? What are you doing in my bubble? Okay? What? Is that weird? Oh, okay. Hey, somebody can make that kind of money acting like he's an athlete, more power to him, okay? So, now, so you guys know that I'm a teacher. And if you hang around, especially with elementary teachers, you're going to notice something about their personalities. They repeat everything 3 times, okay? Especially elementary teachers. It's fun. My pastor's sister is a retired elementary teacher. And it doesn't matter what it is. Hello? It's hello, 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 She says it 3 times. She wants to communicate something to you, she's going to tell you 3 times. Even if it's a random story, okay? She'll suck you in. My pastor calls it Jones World, that's her name. She just suck you in. And the story takes longer because she repeats everything. She wants you to remember. Very few of you, and myself included, remember it the first time. Now, some of you that have been around me know that I dated a lady a few years ago. I'm single. Any 30 to 45-year-old women, I'm available. Single women. Joe's back there going, where in the world is he going with this? Anyway, so she's a teacher. And boys, especially, we're terrible about this. This is a horrible thing to do, okay? She likes to talk. I am a person that I like to talk too, but I also like a lot of silence. When I was around her, she was talking. The amount of talking was to kind of tune the conversation out a little bit. Okay? This is horrible, okay? There's a reason why I'm as old as I am and still single. I'm a horrible person, okay? No, you're not. I am a broken person, especially when Anyway, so, the second time she would repeat what she said, or when she would repeat what she said, my mind would kind of be like, okay, I don't remember what she said, but I know that she said something twice, so if she says it again, I'm going to pay attention this time. Okay, so the third time around that she would repeat something, I would remember it and get back into the conversation. Horrible, horrible thing to do. Okay, but because you guys are wired a lot like me, we are repeating stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Joe said. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Mike said, and then I'm going to start to move into what I have to say. Okay, and then hopefully Luke and Alex will repeat some of the things that I said, or the same ideas, not necessarily my words, to get there, okay? Hopefully those things will happen, and hopefully you've got it to heart already. Some of you, you're going, come on, get on with it, Hey, get into the point where we are ready to talk about how I go forward in my Christian walk. Some of you came down last night, and you dealt with the issues in your life. Some of you are ready to go, I'm ready to go. Okay? I'm ready to be restored. I'm ready to be satisfied with my relationship. I'm ready to move on. Okay? Some of you are sitting here in this room going, oh, here's another service. Here's another guy talking to me about some kind of God stuff, some Bible stuff. Okay? Hopefully that's changing. Hopefully these times alone and in your group discussions where you're talking about these things, that you're starting to move into those next steps. And if you didn't come down last night, or if you haven't made those prayers and made those commitments and made those changes this week, that you're starting to move into that. But as Joe said, God created it. What did God say about His creation? What did God say about His creation? Each time He created something, what did He say? It was good. It was good. God created it. It was good. God created you. You were good. God created Adam and Eve. They were good. Then Adam and Eve and the serpent came along, and they broke. And what did God do? You know, and it's amazing to read the book of Genesis. Tragically, I'm not a great studier. I tend to listen and watch sermons and get ideas from those kinds of things. And I don't necessarily go back and read the Old Testament as much as I should. I spend a lot of my time in the New Testament. I don't go back. And as I was, a couple of years ago, I was reading through Genesis and going, wow, it's amazing how much of what happened in those stories that my Sunday school teachers taught me is in the book of Genesis. Okay? You know, you would think that God would stretch the story out. I mean, there's 66 books in the Bible. You'd think He'd stretch some of that stuff out of some of those other books, but there's so much stuff that happened to human being, the human story in that first book, in these first chapters. We were created, and God saw the brokenness, saw how badly broken we were. He chose Noah and his family, and 2 of each kind of animal, and critter, and all that kind of stuff, to put on the ark, and He destroyed us with those few individuals. Okay? God can do that. God could do that if He chose to. God is that powerful. He can choose to destroy us. But that's not the end of the story. That is not the end of the story. The awesome part is God loves mankind. God loved Adam and Eve. God loved those people that He had to destroy with that flood. Okay? He had to destroy. He had to change things. God loved us so much that He kept pushing it. Okay, how many of you play some kind of video game system? Okay? Okay. A lot of us do. I am a lousy gamer. The greatest thing that ever happened to me was the Wii and the Kinect. Okay? Because I cannot figure out those button combinations. As a child, we had... Okay, your standard scientific calculator was stronger than the first computer we had. But my sister, my little sister, 2 years younger than me, smoked me at everything. Okay? It was humiliating. You know, I was in late elementary, early middle school. She's a little elementary kid, and she smoked me at every video game we had. It was embarrassing. Okay? She would have blisters on her hand from that stupid. And back then we had joysticks, and if you never, you steered everything with this. It didn't have a whole bunch of stuff on there. It was just one joystick and a fire button. Okay? That's it. We did have a Pong, which was even for a little while. Never mind. Okay, so people that know gaming history know Pong. The rest of you, so what? Okay. She would get blisters on her hand because she was good enough that she stayed in the game, and I would sit and have to watch it because I was already dead, and I had to wait till she died. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But one of the things that you can do in a video game that we can't do in our lives things that God has, in a way, has kind of done is push the reset button. Okay? Oh no, I'm not doing good. I'm just going to get out and start over. I know I'm not going to win this game, so I'm just going to start this game over again. And you hit the reset button. So God, a number of times in human history, because He loved us so much, He wanted to redeem us so much, wanted to have covenant with us. Okay? And we'll talk about the word covenant, some in your devotional, and then definitely tonight as I'm speaking. He pushed the reset button. Now, He made a covenant with Noah after that event. That He would never do that again. He would never destroy mankind again. Okay? He would never do that. Guess what? Mankind messed up again. God still loves us. Okay? Comes along and comes to a man named Abram. Okay? Tells Abram, still amazingly enough in Genesis. Okay? This is all in Genesis. Comes to Abram and says, and as near as we know, Abram he was a faithful man, but he didn't have a relationship of any kind with God as near as we know from the story. We don't know for sure, but there's no mention of Abram before God says, hey, I want you to leave your land, I want you to leave your father, go to the land I have picked for you. And even with that covenant that God promised to bless mankind through Abram. Even, it still was a rough road. I mean, they got pushed around by famine. They had to go to countries where they weren't liked. There's a lot in Abraham's story. God renamed him to be Abraham. And if you've ever heard that silly song, Father Abraham had many sons, that's where that came from. God promised to bless Abraham. Abraham was the father of the Jewish people. And the Arabs who don't get along with each other, okay, because of things that Abraham did. But Abraham, God made covenant, not covenant, covenant, a covenant with Abraham. We'll talk about covenant more often, and I love the fact that that's the worship team's name is covenant. Okay, if you'll go ahead and play this. Okay, we're gonna play this little video clip on, and today's topic is promise, and it's kind of leading in with Abraham, and then we'll dismiss.
Do not be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield, your very great reward. Abraham became Abraham, and with God's promise to him, we became a people of promise. Forever. A people of promise. What does it mean to be a people of promise? It means that though time may pass, and we will wrestle with God, though we may get lost in the desert place and find ourselves in the shadow of giants, though we may fall again and again, finding ourselves trapped, lost, enslaved, no matter what, we are still His. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her hard service has been completed, that her sin has been paid for, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins, a voice of one calling, in the desert prepare the way for the Lord, make straight in the wilderness a highway for our God. Every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places a plain. And the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all mankind together will see it. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken.